conocimos una noche, nuestras vidas tropezaron sin saber que era tiempo de encontrarnos. Comenzamos siendo amigos sin creer que era tiempo para unirnos en amor. El mejor beso selló nuestro corazón. Poco a poco y sin pensar, la más bella historia de amor comenzó. Compartimos lo más puro entre los dos, tantos sueños por lograr. Irónicamente fuiste tú la que se llevó mi vida, la que me
Y José Guayabera is off the cuff. That's right. That's Joe the Shirt's off the cuff. I thought that Jose El Camisa, La Camisa didn't work out all that right. So I am now also Jose Guayabera. To all my Latino friends. Welcome back, everybody. I know, right? 3 shows in a row. It's a Christmas miracle. It's not even Christmas yet. But I'm trying to get this done earlier on a more regular basis, because you know what, I get so many stories and they back up on me so much, that I end up doing stories that happened weeks ago, a month ago, so I'm trying to catch up with them, and that way set up myself with a schedule of things that I do, one of them being getting the show done on a more regular timetable. So maybe you'll appreciate that, maybe you won't. Who knows? We'll see how it goes. Of course, the big news I got for you today is you may have seen on Facebook, I posted pictures of the new Joe the Shirt's off-the-cuff T-shirts. That's right. I did post a couple of pictures there. The shirts have got a front side and a back side. Front side's very stylish. It's a picture of me in my gold shirt and gold cheesy ring and gold sunglasses, letting you know that if you listen to Joe the Shirt's off the cuff, I'll make fun of your mom. And then on the back of the shirt is another picture of me from my from the show I did a few videos of for St. Patrick's Day, when I'm wearing pretty much, I'm dressed like a leprechaun basically. And with my Irish whiskey bottle, and it lets you know where people can, when they see the shirt, they can see, they can listen to me on Spreaker.com or check me out on Facebook. So that way your friends can wear, you can wear the Stylin T-shirt and let all your friends know where they can listen to this Joe the Shirt's off the cuff and where they can get their own Stylin T-shirts. All right. Depending on where you are, T-shirts running about $20 right now, especially because I can't really order them in bulk because I don't know how many people want them. If people really want them, I'll get more. If not, then there'll be 3 or 4 collector's items somewhere out there in the world. In any case, that's what's going on. I'm excited about it. Now, yesterday I touched upon quite briefly on gay marriage, which is a topic I've been talking about a lot. It falls into my whole even gay love is blind, Stylin but blind title today. I was talking about Lauren Beth Chakala Chatton, who married to Dana Ann Melancon, and they want a divorce. And what's making this difficult, of course, is the idea that they married in a state that approved, gay marriage, but then moved to Mississippi, where they don't recognize gay marriage and thus will not grant them a divorce. Oh my God, who'd have thought? A gay couple that can't stay together? No way! I make fun of the gays because I love them so much. I don't in any way believe that that gay couples had any better chance of staying together after getting married than straight couples. I think when it comes to that, that's pretty much universal, okay? You get married, you learn to, hate the way the other person breathes. That's what happens, I think, when you get married. And living together just doesn't quite cut it. Because when you're living together, you always have the option of, you know what, go fuck yourself. I'm going to pick up all my shit and leave. All right? Screw you guys. I'm going home. That's basically what you can do when you're living together. But when you're married, you have all these legal documents, and you have this thing called community property, and God forbid you bought a house together or a couple of cars together. You have that joint bank account, or please don't even get me started. And and then, like I said, when gay marriage started to become legal in this country, nobody was happier about gay marriage than divorce lawyers. I mean, nobody. I mean, even gays weren't as happy about gay marriage as divorce lawyers were, okay? They were ecstatic. Because they know, divorce lawyers know, they know human nature better, I think, than a vast majority of people do, because the divorce lawyers get to see human nature at its absolute ugliest, And you would not believe how ugly that beautiful bride of yours, that handsome, generous, loving man of yours, you don't believe how ugly those people can be until it's time to split assets and figure out who gets what kid and how many days a week, which weekends, who gets what car, who gets what house, why should I have to pay you alimony? And it used to be like, if gays got married, they had the advantage of, they didn't have kids to worry about. But now, more and more adoption agencies are letting gay couples adopt children. And with that, you've just run into another roadblock in, extricating yourself away from this other person. Because, that's one of the things I've always been glad about. When me and my wife, when we got divorced, we didn't have children. So that was it, She wanted the apartment. She wanted the old car. That was it. No alimony, none of that shit. We didn't use lawyers. We just took care of it all ourselves. And we've been happily divorced for about a decade now. And I still call every once in a while. Every 6 months or so, we'll meet up for coffee or some shit. I'll ask how she's doing. She'll ask me how I'm doing, and it's done. But that's the exception that proves the rule, okay? But divorce is an ugly thing, and especially now if you're trying to get divorced and you're not allowed to. Now the reason is because they don't recognize same-sex marriages, they don't recognize same-sex divorce. How can we grant you a divorce for something that doesn't exist in the first place? Okay? It's quite the conundrum. So their only real option that these two would have is for both of them to get up, move to a state that does recognize gay marriage, establish residency there, and then apply for a divorce. Okay? In the meanwhile, though, what does that do to, say, the property they may have amassed together while still in Mississippi? Is Mississippi obligated to allow another state to determine whether or not these people can legally separate their properties from one another? Or does Mississippi still hold that right, even though they don't have the right to divorce? I mean, they could be that Mississippi would just say, well, they were never married in the first place. They can split it up however the fuck they want. We don't care. But then you run into tax problems, and when it's not clearly defined legally on a piece of paper, divorce is really, really, really messy. So yeah, so now these guys don't have a lot of options. Now, what I find interesting about Mississippi is, if you are a gay couple and you are married in a different state and you move to Mississippi, Mississippi automatically considers your marriage void, null and void. It didn't happen. Thus you were never married. Thus they don't grant you a divorce. So which if it's an amicable split where everybody's like, well, look, they don't recognize our marriage fucking anyway. Why don't you just take this and I'll take that? Okay, if it's amicable like that, it's not really that big a deal. But there was a in this particular case, one of them was asking for alimony. Okay, and you can't get alimony unless you were married, and which means that you'd have to get divorced, but you can't get a divorce because you were never married. So somebody that's suing for alimony, well, they're pretty much SOL. So, yeah. So that's what they're looking at. So, like I said, it's null and void if you are a gay married couple and you move to Mississippi or several other states like that. I think Texas is one of them. But it's also null and void, say, to be a bigamist in Mississippi, or to say marry one of your relatives. In the case of an incestuous relationship between a couple, like say, if a guy gets married somewhere and he's got 3 wives, you go to Mississippi, those marriages are null and void. They don't exist. Same thing if you happen to say married your sister or married your mom, which is ew, okay? But you did it anyway. You got married, and now you're in Mississippi. Your marriage is considered null and void. Now, here's the big difference, though. In these situations, even though your marriage was null and void, you still have the right to divorce, which is one of the bigger points of contention that gay activists here are having, because they're basically saying, well, hold on. Under your law, what we do is null and void, but also under your law, what they do is null and void, but they still get the right to get a divorce, even though we don't. Basically, once again, degrading them not just to second-class citizens, but to third-class citizens. I mean, you can't even get what a guy that marries his own mother can get. You can't get a divorce, okay? You can't get what a guy that marries 14 girls gets. You can't get that, all right? Because you are a woman that married a woman, or you're a man that married a man. You are not as good as these people to get a divorce. Amazing to me. And of course, the reason that Mississippi would never want to acknowledge, would never want to grant them a divorce would be because if they grant them a divorce, then they acknowledge that they were legally married, and they don't want them to be legally married. And of course, the biggest difference between same-sex marriage and say bigamy and marrying a relative here in incestuous relationship. In those cases, we're talking about men and women. Okay? They're still about men and women. Yeah, sure. Maybe you're a guy that married his mom, but that's still a man and a woman. Maybe you're a guy that married 4 wives, but you're still a man and they're all women. So by their eyes, it's still void. It's still null, but it's not quite as disgusting as you and your girlfriend or you and your boyfriend. So that again, you are being reduced, like I said, beyond second-class citizen. You are a third-class citizen. Okay? That is what you are being reduced to in the states like Mississippi. And shame on you. We now have, 16 states that approve gay marriage, and it's just going to keep on happening. The rest of the country has got to catch up. And I'm a little sick and tired, actually, of it being referred to as a state problem. No, it's not a state problem, because this state problem then determines where you can go. I mean, it's not all that different from, say, in a lot of ways, the Civil War, where you had the North and you had the South, and the South wanted to secede. They just, hey, we're not part of you anymore. We're our own confederacy, and here in our confederacy, we have slaves. And up in the North, they were like, well, and then they're saying, then up you guys up the North, you don't want slaves? Don't have them. But we'll tell you right now, don't let any of them darkies come into our neighborhood, because then as far as we're concerned, they're just slaves. And that is something that did happen. During the Civil War, during the times where, even before the Civil War, where, some states had outlawed slavery, pre-Civil War, it had been known for free black men and women who may have been traveling to the South to visit a relative, or maybe they were abducted. Have you seen the movie 12 Years a Slave? And lots of municipalities, lots of states pretty much said that even if you were legally a free black person in the North, you spent enough time down here, somebody was going to claim you as a slave. And that's basically what's happening here. It's like, okay, yeah, there are 16 states that recognize the fact that I can marry my buddy Jimbo, But if me and Jimbo go to Missouri, then we're, just a couple of guys fucking. We're not married anymore, So I think that it has to become a federal problem, not a state problem anymore. You can't make it a state problem. It has to be a federal problem. It has to be something that everybody can agree on. Otherwise, United States citizens are losing rights whenever they travel, say, to visit their friends or relatives or their ancestral homes or go to, a family reunion. All of a sudden, no, that's not my wife. That's just my girlfriend. No, that's not my husband. That's just my boyfriend all of a sudden. So it's something that, needs to go beyond the state. And I think it's something that I'm hoping this administration can really get into and not just leave it up to the states. To quote Dennis Miller, the states can't pave roads. Okay, we're going to leave it up to them to decide one of the biggest, most divisive issues of our time. That's like right up there with letting states decide on abortion. We're not going to get into that one today, but again, I believe that should be a federal mandate, not a state mandate. And on that one, we're going to take a break because we're going to keep talking about how love is blind, even gay love, because it's Stylin, but it's blind. And our music today is brought to you by Jose Moran and Matri. Hold on, let's see if I pronounce this right. Matri Sabido. Saibo. I'm probably saying it wrong, but it's good stuff and I enjoy it. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff, and I'll be right back.
Repícame tamborero, la fiesta ya ha comenzado. El santo negro ha escapado con todos los chimbangleros. Repícame tamborero, la fiesta ya ha comenzado. El santo negro ha escapado con todos los chimbangleros. San Benito se escapó bien temprano de la catedral. Chimbangleros con el van a tocar. La fiesta de Santo Negro empezó. San Benito, suena tu tambor. Chimbanglero, suena lo mejor. San Benito, suena tu tambor. Chimbanglero, suena lo mejor. San Benito se escapó bien temprano de la catedral. Chimbangleros con el van a tocar. La fiesta de Santo Negro empezó. San Benito, cantaremos, bailaremos. Chimbanglero, todos llenos de alegría. San Benito, en este lado del mundo para celebrar tu día. San Benito,
Joe the Shirt is off the cuff. Oh, I'm digging that music, man. I am. I hope you guys are too. I know some of you are out there. You're in your kitchen. Maybe you're cooking. Maybe you're like getting things ready for the hubby or the kids, or maybe you were in the middle like pouring yourself a Mai Tai or some shit, and then all of a sudden the music comes on, and the hip starts swiveling, and you feel good. You feel good doing it, don't you? You dirty, dirty whore. Any case, that wonderful sign you might be hearing behind me is my dog Jack drinking water as loudly as humanly fucking possible. But what do you expect? He's a dog. We're talking about Love is Blind. And we're not just talking about this from a legal perspective. I'm talking about it from a real personal perspective. A very good friend of mine, one of my best friends in the whole world, got married over the summer, right after gay marriage became legal here in California. We stopped the hate on Prop 8. And him and his long-term boyfriend, they decided to tie the knot, man. Talking like within a week of gay marriage being legal in California, they were set, all right? They went, I think they went to downtown City Hall. They got married there. Thankfully, they did not invite me to the wedding. Not because I have anything against gay weddings. I just don't go to weddings. Hell, I didn't enjoy my own wedding. Why would I enjoy theirs? But I did go to their reception, and it was, a beautiful, stylish affair, That's why you need the new Prozac to help you get over incredibly stylish, grand gay weddings. But But it was really nice. It was in this very nice house with a really nice big backyard, and they had sculptures, and they had all this food that his sisters made, and his aunts and uncles, and a bunch of his friends were there as well as I was, and we drank, we ate. I did a toast. It was funny, and it was just a really nice affair. I got to meet his boyfriend, now his husband, for the first time for any real amount of time. I'd met him like once before when I was walking down the street one day, and they caught me like, "Hey, Joe, this is so-and-so." And I was meeting him. He was like, he's a tall drink of water, let me tell you. My buddy is not a short man. He's like 5'11" or so, and he's in good shape, good-looking guy. But this guy is like 6'4", 6'5". He's built like a basketball player, and good-looking kid, and got to meet him, and I got to know him a little bit more, at the reception, and we talked, and this is so not the guy I imagined my buddy ending up with, and I know that he didn't either. Okay, I know this for a fact, because my pal, let's call him Monty, for now, is a very particular kind of guy, and and he likes things a certain way. Like he always gave me these rules he had for the type of man he would want in his life. Number one, he would have to have his own place. His boyfriend ended up living with him at his place for like almost a year. Number two, he would have to have a job. Well, this guy was from a different country, and he didn't qualify for a job card yet, so he wasn't making any money. He didn't have a job. Okay. Number three was like he absolutely could not be a drinker or a smoker. This guy smokes at least 2 packs a day, and I've seen him pound booze. All right. And so, and my buddy has a very distinct sense of style. And if you were to go to his place, it's always covered in orange everywhere, and pictures of celebrities that he has loved since he was a child everywhere. And just a very distinct style to his place. And now he says like almost all of that is gone because, now that he's living with somebody else, he wanted to be able to let him have, obviously his sense of style, be joined into his as well. And he just tells me, he goes, "Joe, you would not recognize my place at all. There's like almost no orange in my house," because apparently the husband is not a big fan of orange, and neither am I. And let's be reasonable. The vast majority of people are not big fans of orange all over their house. But my buddy was. He loved the color, and he made a point of it to have it around him. And and he says that he has never been happier. All these compromises he made to be with this one particular person who drinks, who smokes, who didn't have a job, who didn't have his own place, barely spoke English at the time, just all these things that for him, for my buddy, they were like red flags, not doing it, can't do it, but he did it. He found himself happier now than he's ever been with his new husband, and and I'm very, very happy for him. Now, let me put it this way: this is how much my buddy has changed. My buddy always prided himself on his appearance. He's a very, very good-looking man, and model good-looking, and to the point where women would just offer him sex. I mean, random women, really, they just would. And they would find out he was gay, and that just made it even more exciting for them. That's how good-looking he is, and now I lost my train of thought. I was going somewhere with that. But no, like I said, he's a really, really good-looking guy. Oh, yeah, he's very self-conscious about his appearance. So he always worked out all the time. He was always in really, really great shape. If he hit a certain weight, be it the holidays or hadn't gone to the gym enough lately, or maybe he had a little too much pizza one night, boom, he was at the gym for the next 3 days, working out, slimming down, not eating stuff for like a week. I'd be like, hey, let's go get something. He's like, no, I'll just have some hot water, And then when I saw him at his wedding reception, It was actually the heaviest I'd ever seen him. The absolute heaviest I'd ever seen him, okay? He had a little bit of a gut going, and he had a little bit of a badonkadonk in the rear end going as well, okay? And I can say badonkadonk because, he's a man of color. But, it's like I'd never seen him so heavy, and at the same time, I'd never seen him so happy. It was a wonderfully stylish wedding. It was just, the reception was beautiful. But he really did marry a person that fit almost every part of his list of things he did not want in his significant other. And yet, love is blind, and he did it anyway. And like I said, he's never been happy. Now, I don't know how this is going to end. It could be they'll be a nice, happy, old gay couple forever, Or it could be like most marriages, they end in divorce. I don't know. I'm not making those predictions, especially I'm not one of my best friends. I truly hope it does work out for him. But, but he made that decision. He made that leap, despite all the warning signs that he would normally use to just get away from a guy like this. And it's, that's what I think the gays keep trying to tell all of you. You can't choose who you love. You really can't. It's like, just like I can't say choose to love women. I love women. I've never been in love with a man. I can't choose that. I can't choose, that I want to be in love with this woman over that other woman. It doesn't work that way. And these guys, they can't choose to love women either, just like lesbians can't choose to love a man. Doesn't matter how great the guy is. I have lesbian friends. They don't choose to not have sex with me. They just know they're not gonna have sex with me because they don't wanna. I'd like to think, though, if they could choose, they'd have sex with me. There's a couple of hotties out there. But, that's not the point. More gaiety in the news. Pastor for the United Methodist Church was convicted of marrying his son. Now, before you go off, when I say that, it means he presided over his son's wedding, all right? I know, I teased you that way. I'm sorry. But yeah, he presided over his son's wedding. And after that, there was a jury of 13 pastors that convicted him, Reverend Frank Schaefer of Lebanon, Pennsylvania, of breaking church law by officiating at his son's same-sex wedding. Schaefer's defense, he extended God's love to his son. Now, this is despite the fact that, now the United Methodist Church is probably the largest Protestant denomination in the United States. So it's a pretty strong, big church, okay? And this is despite the fact that as of, July 2013, Gallup poll, 52% of Americans said they would vote for a law legalizing gay marriage for all, while 42% said they would not, and the rest still just don't know. And that's a big change from, say, 1996, where the polls showed that 68% did not believe in same-sex marriage, and the ones that should be valid were about 27%. So it's a big, big shift. The United States Methodist Church, the nation's largest mainline Protestant denomination, rejects homosexuality as contrary to Christian teachings and bars its clergy from performing same-sex marriages. Gays and lesbians are allowed to be full members of the church, however. What a pack of fucking hypocrites. What? You know what? You are such a pack of fucking hypocrites. Fuck you, United Methodist Church. Fuck you straight to fucking hell. It's like, oh yeah, no, we welcome everybody. We love the gays. We love the lesbians. But you can't get married here, faggot. Oh yeah, we love the gays. We love the lesbians. But you can't get married here, dykezilla. That's what they're saying, okay? That's an insult. That is an affront. Look, I understand that a lot of people, they have the religions that they grew up with, and a lot of times in those religions, what they are goes against religious doctrine. Being gay, being one of the biggies, the Catholics, the Protestants, believe the Jews as well. And rather than just abandoning their religion entirely, they decide to continue going through their religious, whatevers, and just not talk about the fact that they're gay, not talk about the fact that the very religion that they love and grew up with hates everything they are. I mean, they, like the Protestants here, they say, oh yeah, we accept everybody, we love everybody, it's not a problem, but we're not going to let you get married. Oh, you want to get married? Well, you get married somewhere else. Go get married at City Hall, but you're not getting married here in the church that you love and grew up in. That's what we're saying here. You hypocritical, cocksucking shits. Speaking of hypocritical, cocksucking shits, got one more gay story here for you. You may have heard of the Cheneys. Apparently there's a sibling quarrel over the issue of same-sex marriage, which flared anew last Monday after Liz Cheney, a Senate candidate in Wyoming, restated her opposition to gay and lesbian matrimony, which makes it kind of difficult considering that her younger sister and her sister's spouse are a couple of really angry lesbians who are married. Now, jumping into the rift, former Vice President Dick Cheney and his wife, Lynn, defended their older daughter, the one that's opposing gay marriage. Quote, Liz has always believed in the traditional definition of marriage. She has also always treated her sister and her sister's family with love and respect, exactly as she should have done. Compassion is called for even when there is a disagreement about how such fundamental matter, and Liz's many kindnesses should be used to distort her position. In Fox News, referring to the younger sister, younger Cheney, she said, Liz said, I love Mary very much. I love her family very much. This is just an issue in which we disagree. Mary Cheney, who is gay and married to her longtime partner, Heather Poe, responded that, for the record, I love my sister, but she is dead wrong on the marriage issue. After watching this on Fox News, the interview, Poe went so far as to say, Liz, this isn't just an issue on which we disagree. You're just wrong and on the wrong side of history. She also posted on her Facebook account that this is the lesbian sister's wife speaking here. Quote, Liz has been a guest in our home and has spent time and shared holidays with our children. When Mary and I got married in 2012, she didn't hesitate to tell us how happy she was for us. To have her now say that she doesn't support our right to marry is offensive, to say the least. I can't help but wonder how Liz would have felt as if she had moved from state to state. She discovered that her family was protected in one but not the other. I always thought freedom meant freedom for everyone. Okay, once again, hypocrisy shows its ugly head. Yeah, you know what? I don't want to hear it from you. All right. I support gay marriage. I do. I'm opposed to marriage in general. I think it's a bad idea for everybody. But as long as straight people can get married, I think gay people can get married as well and be just as unhappy as the rest of us. But I think it's you are a complete shit, Liz Cheney. If you go around telling your sister and her wife that you love them and you accept them and you go to their holiday parties and you have them over to your holiday parties and you interact with their family and you act like family, but yet you get into the public arena and then all of a sudden you're saying, yeah, I still oppose gay marriage. I think it's wrong and against God's plan. You're a fucking hypocrite. You're a liar. You're a piece of shit. And you know what? Your sisters should be offended by you. Your sister and her family, and her wife, they should be offended by you. Her family should be offended by you. What you're doing is wrong. It's hypocritical bullshit. Same thing to go with, of course, the United Methodist Church. Yes, we love gays and lesbians. Just don't want them getting married here. That's right up there with the story I did last year about a church wherein a black congregant and a white woman wanted to get married at the church that they had been attending all their lives. And the church told them, well, no, we don't allow interracial marriage. You're allowed to come by, you're allowed to worship here and pray to God, but you're not allowed to get married here. We wouldn't want you tainting our lily white blood with your coon blood. Basically what they're saying. That's not what I'm saying, that's basically what they're saying. And it's insulting and it's wrong. And on that note, we're going to take a little bit of a break here. I'll show the shirts off the cuff. I know I'm getting preachy again. And here's more of Jose Moran y Madrigaibo. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff, and I'll be right back.
Repícame tamborero, la fiesta ya ha comenzado. El santo negro ha escapado con todos los chimbangleros. Repícame tamborero, la fiesta ya ha comenzado. El santo negro ha escapado con todos los chimbangleros. San Benito se escapó temprano de la catedral. Chimbangleros con el van a tocar. La fiesta del santo negro empezó. San Benito, suena tu tambor. Suena lo mejor, suena tu tambor, suena lo mejor. San Benito se escapó temprano de la catedral. Chimbangleros con el van a tocar. La fiesta de Santo Negro empezó. San Benito. Cantaremos, bailaremos.
Cantaremos, bailaremos con Joe the Shirts off the cuff. Welcome back, everybody. I know you were digging the music. I know you were. I can tell. I can feel it. Good Lord. You know what? Before we continue with any more of the heavy stuff, let's do celebrity birthdays. Let's see. Britney Spears is 32 years old, if you happen to be born on December 2nd. Aaron Rodgers is 30 of the Green Bay Packers fame. The very attractive Lucy Liu is 45 years old. Nelly Furtado is 35 years old. Rena Sofer, actress, is 45. Kathy Lee Crosby is 69. God, I used to have the hots for her. Rick Savage from Def Leppard is 53 years old. Comedian Matt King is 54 years old. You can see him most of the time over at, I think, Harrah's in Las Vegas. And occasionally, as a close-up magician, you might see on some TV specials. He's very, very safe, whitewashed. But he's cute, though. And Stephen Bauer, famed actor from TV show from the movie Scarface, is 57, and these days you can still see him as one of the tough guys on Ray Donovan. Yep, that's the name of the show. And also, speaking of the gays, NBA player Jason Collins is 35 years old. The NBA center is the first openly gay active NBA player. Of course, right now I don't know exactly where the hell he's playing, if he's playing, but he did come out while he was still considered an active player. A big deal that, you know what, since it happened and since the new year started, I have heard nothing about. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe he figured, hey, it's not that big a fucking deal. All right. Now, I don't know if you've heard about this, but little world news for you guys. And this time I'm not heading towards South America. I'll do that in the next show. Today we're going back to Europe. Scotland is apparently, once again, planning on leaving the British Union. They no longer want to be considered British, want to be considered officially Scottish, much like the Irish are not considered British. They're considered Irish, and they have been Irish for about the last 100 years. Scotland wants to, separate itself and its identity from Britain. But with certain provisos, an independent Scotland would still be, according to them, they would be richer, fairer, nuclear free, but would still keep the British pound, the Queen, and membership in the European Union and NATO. So it sounds to me that Scotland wants a divorce, but also wants alimony. It's like, yeah, we don't want to be considered part of you, but we'd like to keep all the benefits anyway. Apparently, there's less than a year before Scotland votes on whether or not to seek a divorce from England and Wales. Campaigners for the Yes side released a 670-page document outlining the practicalities and priorities of independence. Among these, expulsion of the British nuclear submarines from Scottish waters, greater investment in children and better social services, and also a fair share of revenue from the North Sea oil fields, which independence projected would begin March 24, 2016, and would allow them to reclaim those oil fields for themselves. Now, mind you, it's not like there's a big rushing majority of Scottish people that don't want to be part of, England and Wales and British Empire or whatever. It's more along the lines that there are just the few that do really, really want to. And in the overall worldview of it, nobody cares. Now, moving back home to Houston, Texas, a conservative group came up with an interesting way to bring attention to the illegal immigration that is, so widespread here in the United States. What they did, this was organized by the university chapter's Young Conservatives of Texas, was plan a Catch an Illegal Immigrant Day. It's a game at the University of Texas at Austin, where students on campus were to try to catch club members wearing illegal immigrant signs and then turn them into the club's recruitment tables in exchange for a $25 gift certificate. According to this, the purpose of this event is to spark campus-wide discussion about the issue of illegal immigration and how it affects our everyday lives. Really? I thought you were trying to encourage the idea of hunting down illegal immigrants and turning them in for money. That's what it sounds like to me. You know? It doesn't sound to me like you want to start a discussion. It sounds like to me that you want to start the idea that, it might be a good idea if you can all just legally round up anybody who you think is an illegal immigrant, turn them into some government agency and collect a bounty on them. That's what it sounds like to me. The university, of course, condemns the entire thing. It was canceled. But I think, I think we know where these people, what tendencies these people kind of have. It's a little sad, really. What else? Do I want to end today with a more disturbing or a more uplifting story for the day? Let's go disturbing. Okay, this one is awful. A girl in South Africa was abducted from her home after her mother had put her to bed. Mother puts her to bed. She goes into the other room to watch some TV. The girl is then abducted and raped not too far from her home. The two things that really stand out here, beyond the fact that she was abducted and raped, is that she was abducted and raped by her uncle, and that she was also 6 weeks old. See, there's a special place in hell for this guy. I mean, you don't do that. I mean, it's just one of those things you don't fucking do. You don't need a lesson in this. You don't need a sensitivity program. You need to know not to do these things, and if you don't know not to do these things, you need to be put down like an animal. According to the story here, the girl's 24-year-old uncle was arrested after the attack, which occurred on Tuesday. Township residents have surrounded the suspect and threatened to kill him, according to local media, until relatives intervened to save him. News of the alleged rape came as South Africa, with one of its highest rates of rape globally, was marking 16 days of activism targeting rape and violence against women. Also, South Africa has one of the highest rates of child rape in the entire world. It's one of those things that makes me ashamed to be a man. To be a human being. That's what it is. It makes me ashamed. I mean, it's such an atrocity on so many levels. It's an abduction. It's a rape. It's the rape of a child. It's a rape of a child by somebody that she would someday, hopefully grow to love and trust and feel protected by. And instead, you have a 6-week-old child, someone that barely understands the concept of breathing, eating, and shitting, being violated in such a fashion. There are examples of this, not quite this extreme that I know of, that have happened within the confines of my own family. And there are people that know better than to be around when I come to visit. And much like in this case, there were instances where, family members protected these individuals. They stood up for these individuals, with whatever excuses they came up with, including, like the ones like, she asked for it, or was it really that bad? Or on one case that I know of where a very good friend of mine told me that she was molested by her uncle, and when she told her family about it, she was told by her older relatives not to make such a big deal of it because, hell, he did it to them as well. And this is the world we live in. Okay? Not the world I want to live in, but I'm sorry. When it comes to hurting children, I do draw the line. And I do believe, I don't give a fuck if you're insane. You get put down like an animal. In any case, on that note of levity, here's more Jose Moran with his song Como la Luna. I'm Joe the Shirt. I'm off the cuff. And please don't forget to look to buy a t-shirt. I'll be bringing you all the information on how to do that within the next few days. I'm Joe the Shirt, and I've been off the cuff.